Okay guys, so I'm going to show you how I put the nail tips on my practice hand. A lot of you guys have been asking how I do this, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. I already posted a video like this before, but it was one of my first videos, so I don't want you guys scrolling like all the way to the bottom just to find it. So let's get into it. So the first thing I do is I cut off the ends. After that, I start rounding it out. Now this you don't have to do, but it just makes it look a little more cleaner. After I finish rounding it out, that is when I go in with my nail file again and I start filing the top of the nail. Now I file the entire nail. I do this to take off the shine. Now here's an example as to why you should always take off the shine from your nail. So as you can see, I didn't round out the ends or take off the shine. I'm putting on the glue. I try to put on the nail and it won't stick. Now you can hold that nail tip on there for like a minute. It is not going to stick, trust me. So I'm putting on the glue on the nail that I did take off the shine, putting on the nail tip, and as you can see, it's going to stick on right away. And that's what you want. You don't want your nail tip to be falling off. So taking off the shine from the nail tip is very important. So then after I do all of that, that's when I go in and I cut it to the length that I want and I start removing the shine from the nail tip. And then I place a clear bead of acrylic. It doesn't have to be thick. It just has to be enough to be able to hold that nail together. Make sure that you do this part because this will for sure hold that nail together. After that, wait for the acrylic to harden and then you're done. Hey guys, so me and my brother are going to be doing a voiceover today.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Cosita, so what am I doing here?
I just putting some clear stuff on it.
But it's not clear.
But it is though.
No, that's clear.
No, it was clear before.
That's not clear, but okay.
It's clear.
This is clear right here.
No, it's clear.
That's teal. What am I doing here?
You're putting teal.
Okay, so Omar made it pretty obvious that we're using teal.
Yes.
Okay, so what am I doing here now?
You're putting skin color.
No, Menzo, this is ombre.
Okay, you're putting an ombre.
Ombre? Okay, Omar, so what am I doing here?
You're spreading the clear color.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, what am I doing here?
And now you're cutting the nail up.
No, I'm not cutting the nail. I'm filing.
You're cutting.
No, I'm
cutting.
Filing. Okay, so what do you think about this? Did you think it was cool how I did it?
It's pretty. It's like very like homemade, obviously.
Homemade? No, it's not homemade. It's artistic.
It's the same thing, just different shit.
Okay, so what did you think about my little pink flowers?
I like them. They're really pretty and unique.
Really?
Yeah.
You complimented me for the first time. Okay, so these nails were Arizona tea inspired. Let us know if you guys want us to do any more voiceovers together.
Yes, sir.
Story time. When I was 15, I had my first girlfriend. So keep in mind I was very young and naive. My girlfriend at the time and I were taking things slow upon her request because I was also her first girlfriend, and she was around my age. We met in freshman year and we became best friends. One thing led to another, and before we knew it, we caught feelings. Fast forward to my 18th birthday, me and my girlfriend went to a haunted hayride park with my former best friend and her boyfriend at the time. After the night was over, we realized how late it was and we decided to stay at my best friend's house that night. That was the first night we ever did anything. After it was over, my ex went to sleep, but something wasn't sitting right with me. My gut feeling, which never fails me, told me to go through her phone. First, I went through her messages, but I found nothing. Same with her pictures, social media, and other apps. But the feeling still wasn't going away, so I laid there in bed thinking maybe I was going crazy, but then I told myself, go through her notes. That's where I found a love letter from a boy. We'll call him Bob. He was saying things like, I can't wait to see you, I love when you tell me you love me, and so on. So out of anger, I screenshotted everything and I posted it on her Facebook. All I kept thinking to myself was, if she thinks she's going to be happy after I leave her, she's wrong, because no one wants to be with a cheater. Well, like a dummy, I forgave her. At this point, the cheating never stopped, and it was always with boys. I kept forgiving her, thinking maybe she changed. Fast forward, it's about 2 weeks before our 5-year anniversary, and I find out that she's cheating again. At this point, I was over it. I tried to let it go, but I couldn't, so we ended up breaking up. But we always had a pact to stay friends if our relationship didn't work out. So at this point, it was really awkward, but it worked for a bit. One day when I got home from work, I'm sitting on my porch and I get a message from a boy. We'll call him Frank. We hit it off right from the start, and eventually he asked me to go on a date, and I said yes. So out of excitement, I texted my ex and she asked me with who, and I told her his name, and she was like, you're not gonna want to do that because that's Bob's best friend. And my heart dropped. I told Frank I couldn't go on a date because if Bob is really his best friend, then he should know me. The next day I asked my mom for advice and she told me that I should do what would make me happy. So in the end I ended up saying yes. I've been with Frank for 3 years and me and Bob are extremely close. All is forgiven, but I don't talk to my ex anymore after finding out the truth from Bob. Story time! Okay, so my freshman year of high school, I had this group of friends. But by sophomore year, a lot of the group had already moved to another school, so I was stuck with this one girl. We'll call her Chaparrita. So Chaparrita had this boyfriend since freshman year, and there was never any problem between me, him, or her before. We were always really cool. So this one day I walk into class, and she calls me over to her, and she starts telling me about how she logged into her boyfriend's messenger and saw that he was texting someone who had a crush on me, and they were talking about me. While she was reading the messages, she saw that the person he was talking to sent a message that said, Stephanie is really pretty. And my friend's boyfriend responded with, yeah, she is pretty. So after that, it was kind of awkward, so I stayed quiet because I didn't know how to respond to that, and then she said, he shouldn't be calling you pretty. So I told her to talk to him about it, but she told me she couldn't because she had logged into his messenger without him knowing. So after that, I thought that was the end of it, but then I started to notice that she would try to insult me and try to make me feel bad about myself. She would call me ugly and tell me I was either too skinny or too fat or I didn't have this and that. And at first I thought she was just playing, but then I started to realize that she wasn't. So then one day we were in class and my teacher asked me a question, so I answered. And after I answered, that's when Chaparrita said something stupid like under her breath, and I was already fed up with her, so I told her something back. So we started arguing in front of the whole class for like at least 5 minutes. And we actually started arguing in Spanish. And in that class, nobody knew Spanish, so everybody was like, what the hell are they talking about? So then after the argument, my teacher ended up asking me if I needed to step out for a second, but I told her I was okay, so she just continued the lesson. While she's continuing the lesson, I see that Chaparrita is messaging me. And I was going to turn around and be like, if you need to tell me something, you could tell me right here, because we're literally in the same class, but I just decided not to. So then I went to go check if she was still typing, but then she ended up blocking me. After that, me and her never spoke again. Like, she never insulted me again. Like, I think the argument put her in her place. So then fast forward to junior year, I went to a new school, and this was an alternative school, so there was multiple schools in one. About 3 weeks after school started, I'm walking to the entrance and guess who I saw? Chaparrita's boyfriend. So obviously we saw each other, so we started talking and I asked him if he was still with Chaparrita and he said yes. He then tells me, you know she used to talk shit about you all the time, right? So I asked him what she would say and he said she would call you fake, she would call you ugly, she would call you a puta, she would call you all kinds of things. He then said, I just don't understand how she would call you fake, but she was the one talking about you behind your back and then pretending to be your friend. And I told him that I kind of always had a feeling that she would talk about me like that. After that, we went our separate ways, but I still don't understand why she was mad at me. Personally, if I was in her situation, I would have been mad at my boyfriend, not my friend. So I was at work one day and the rush was finally over. Me and this other girl were working up front and I had just finished cleaning the trays and the lobby was empty, so we were all just enjoying the peace and talking. I was talking to my coworker who was working in Drive when this guy walks into the store. He looks like he's in his 40s or his 50s. Now we had like 50 people coming during rush and I did not feel like taking another order, so I bent down and I'm pretending that I was doing something so my other coworker can take his order instead. And I hear him saying something, but I wasn't paying attention because I was too busy pretending to be busy, you know? So I pop back up while he's ordering and I look at my coworker who's standing next to me and her eyes are wide open, her mouth is wide open, she's just in shock. And this guy finishes ordering and he walks by us and he says, I'm a Republican, no one likes what I have to say. And I was just like, oh yeah, you're a Republican, that's cool, whatever, I don't care. So then I look back at my coworker and she says, did you just hear what he said? And I was like, yeah, he said he's a Republican. So then she says, I'm gonna go get X. And I was confused. I was like, why are you gonna get our GM if all he said that was, you know, he's a Republican? So I'm standing there waiting for his food to be ready, and here comes my coworker and my GM and one of my managers, and all three of them look so mad. And my GM's like, Steph, what happened? And I'm still hella confused, so I just say, I don't know. So we're all standing there. My GM is standing right next to me, and the guy's food is ready, so he comes up to the counter to get it, and my GM looks him straight in the face and says, do we have a problem? And when this guy came into the store, he was really obnoxious, but when my GM said that, that automatically changed. So the guy says, oh, it's just Mess with People Tuesday, and my boss was just like, So then the guy looks at me, and he said, how are you the only nice person in this store? And obviously I didn't respond. Like, what was I going to say? Oh, thank you so much. Like, no, dude, you need to leave. Nadie te quiere aquí. Yo no sé por qué. So we all waited until he left the store, and I look at my coworker and I'm like, what did he say? And she was like, when he walked up to the counter, he looked at you and said, I don't want you serving me because Donald Trump doesn't like you and he's going to support you and everyone else. My mouth dropped. I was in shock. I did not hear what he said. Obviously, I would have said something back if he did, but at least my boss had my back. Hey guys, so today I'll be showing you how I prep nails. So the first thing I do is I push back the cuticles with a cuticle pusher. Then with a cuticle drill bit, I remove the cuticles. I don't use a cuticle cutter just because I feel like the cuticle drill does the job. Then with a sanding band, I remove the nails' natural shine. When doing this, you only want to remove the nails' natural shine. You do not want to thin out your client's nails. After I place the nail tip in shape, I go in with the same sanding band and I remove the nail tip shine. Now this part you don't have to do, I just do it because I feel like it helps me control the acrylic a little better and the movements. But you do need to blend in the nail tip and the natural nail like I did in the video. So after all of that, I use 3 different things. I use a dehydrator, a nail primer, and a no acid and no burn nail primer. Then the nails are ready for acrylic application. Story time! So when I was about 10 years old, I was depressed because my mom had recently passed and my sisters kept bullying me and my dad was literally the only person there for me. Fast forward 10 years later, I started dating. Remind you, I never dated anyone before because my past relationships never worked out. So I met this guy and a few months go past and he wanted me to marry him, so happily I said yes. My sisters finally decided to come down and see me, and one of them ended up meeting my husband, and she always looked at him like she had a crush on him, but I just brushed it off. So we were all having a conversation and I see that my sister goes upstairs to put her phone to charge. An hour passes and she finally comes back downstairs because her phone finished charging. She then asks my husband if he can give her his phone number so we can all keep in touch, and he says yes. Fast forward a year later and I noticed that my husband starts acting differently. Like for example, one day he couldn't find his phone, so he ended up buying 2 more phones for work. I asked him about it and he just told me not to worry. But one day I told my husband that I was going to work and I wouldn't be back home until 7. But before I left, I ended up putting a camera up so I could see what happened. Instead of going to work, I ended up going to my neighbor's house, who was also my best friend. 4 or 5 minutes go past and I see a black car pulling up in my driveway, and guess who it is? My sister. My husband lets her into the house, so I checked the camera and I saw that they started doing things. I ran over to confront them, crying and in disbelief. I'm now 23 years old and I don't talk to both of them. He's come back to say that he's sorry and he'll never do it again. But he's now married to my sister and they have 10 kids, and I'm now married with someone else with 1 daughter.